and today we're going to be talking about Blight in the Binding of Isaac and why it's so broken and powerful. So as you see, we're playing Azazel. We will go to the Lost as well, but these are the characters that start with Blight, and what makes Blight such a powerful tool is the ability to simply do this, right? Sit over rocks. This becomes extremely important the farther you go in Isaac, where you can avoid enemies. You can sit behind rocks to also avoid enemy tiers. So, Blight inherently is a powerful tool, depending on how you use it, right? Also lets me do this, which you've been seeing is, well, not get trash, but it has been letting me get pickups and chances for more pickups. Hello, Vanishing Twin. Which, as you see, is very heavily already affected this run, right? If I didn't have Blight, I would not have had a way to get the sacks, which led to having a bomb to open the stone chest to get more options. So it's these little interactions that Blight provides, you know, assuming you don't have a bomb, that are extremely important. I'm sure we all know and are familiar with Azazel, but here you can see us using Blight to avoid being shot at by that guy, right? Super useful. This is great. This is one part of what makes Azazel such a strong character. Again, this video isn't just about Blight, but is about the two characters, three, including Tainted Lost, who start with Blight guaranteed. So another fun and interesting thing about Azazel is you start with a full card, which I'm going to use here. The full card, I don't think I really have to explain why it is such a useful tarot card. You can use it to get out of boss rush, steal an item. Same with mob rooms, boss rooms, like boss challenge, and same with the cursed room. This in tandem with Blight because, as you saw, Blight allows you to ignore the normal half-heart damage of a cursed room when entering only. Still extremely important, extremely good tool to have. This is two parts of what makes Azazel, in my opinion, the most broken, non-tainted character in Isaac. The other part, which you are already probably familiar with, is his brimstone. While it's not full screen brimstone, to be fair, it is still extremely good, as it provides piercing, so I don't have to worry if there's two enemies or more lined up behind each other. I just hold and shoot, and they die. Really, the only downside to Azazel is that, which isn't much of a downside. He's fast, he has piercing, he has flight, and he has the full card. So, Azazel is an extremely strong and powerful character for these reasons, right? I'll hop over to another character that starts with Blight, the Lost. As you can see, the Lost will start with the Eternal V6, which lets you reroll items every 2 rooms, with the downside that it has a 50% chance to delete the item off the pedestal. The Lost also starts with Holy Mantle. I don't think I need to explain to you what Holy Mantle is. However, it is a very, very powerful tool, especially for the Lost. What makes the Lost's use of Blight strong is, again, something we discussed when covering Azazel, right? In Azazel's sense, because of his high damage output, Azazel can afford to take many more hits because he can pick up red, black, and soul hearts. There's no real limit besides the HP cap to how much he can have. The Lost does not share this luxury, which is why the Holy Mantle is so important for him and why Blight is so important. When you can, using rocks, using the environment to avoid taking damage is extremely necessary for him. Of course, Tainted Lost works differently. There is no holy mantle. What you have access to instead is going to be the holy cards, which are one-time use, and will only protect you for one hit. It does not refresh every room like holy mantle does. Now, what this really means for you, the player, is you're going to have to play a lot more carefully with Lost than you would Lost. Of course, Blight is still extremely powerful. It's an extremely useful tool to have for Tainted Lost. This fact of not having a regenerative Holy Mantle makes Blight even more valuable on Tainted Lost than most other characters. This guy has a Blight form. The downside is you are shackled to the body of the Forgotten unless you get Birthright. Now you have free access to do as you please. Of course, when you hit control again, you're now right back to where you left the Forgotten's body. Now the last character I want to get to is Tainted Forgotten. Tainted Forgotten works similarly to the Forgotten plus the Lost in a way. As you see, we are a little ghost. Instead of having only one bit of health, we can pick up soul hearts, and our method of dealing damage is going to be our body. Blight for him is very valuable for mostly traversing. Dodging, honestly, is not so highly valued, not like the Lost or her Tainted Lost. It just allows them to move faster and work more efficiently. But that's really all there is to say about Tainted Forgotten in regards to light and the mechanics behind it. I'm sure you're also asking yourself, well, Kat, what if the character I pick does not have Blight? Great question. Well, luckily for you, there's plenty of items in Isaac that provide Blight. You have Transcendence, which is a secret room item that provides Blight. You have the Pony, which is an active item that comes from the Headless Horseman. That provides Blight so long as you hold it. You also have another active item. This one you do not have to hold. Esau Jr. One use of Esau Jr. will give you Blight for the rest of the run. You also have Dead Dove, Holy Grail from the Angel Pool, Lord of the Pit, Spirit of the Night from the Devil Pool, and more. There's more than all of those that I've listed. Needless to say, there are a lot of items in Isaac that give Blight. Well, we've covered most of the items that provide Blight in Isaac. I hear you say, hey, Kat, I can't find that item. Is there another way to get Blight? And yes, dear viewer, there is. There's going to be 4 different transformations that provide it. This method will be items that grant you transformations. So here in front of me, I have 3 guppy items. Notably, there's also a trinket called Kid's Drawing, which gives you 1/3 of guppy as long as you hold it. But this will act as a way to get Blight. See, now we have Blight here. I did not mean to spawn Eternal D6, but here we go. Alright, the same will happen for your Angel Pool, right? This will give you Seraphim, and these are not the only items to give Seraphim. There's actually a lot. I have a more detailed breakdown here in the top right corner if you're interested in what other items contribute to certain transformations. Here we have items that contribute to Leviathan, which is the devil version of Seraphim. And again, these are a small sample of items that provide Beelzebub upon picking them up, which again grants Blight. Well, we have gone over the most consistent ways to get Blight, permanent Blight at that. Let's go over some more inconsistent methods of getting Blight. Here we have 2 different trinkets. The one on the left here is going to be Bowing. This trinket, upon killing an enemy, has a chance to grant Blight for the rest of the room. And this is Azazel's Stump. When clearing a room adds a chance to turn into Azazel until clearing another. It's also important to note that these do not work, or scale rather, with luck. Luck will actually have no effect on these trinkets, unfortunately. And there we go. See, I had to go through the entire floor, about 20 enemies worth, but I was finally given my temporary flight with this trinket for the room, which is now useless. Now, in addition to these methods, we also have other ways to get temporary flight. Obviously, your main one is going to be the Hanged Man card. You also have the Soul of the Lost, which turns you into the Lost for 1 floor. And you also have Reverse Sun and Reverse Devil, giving you temporary flight. And of course, the active item in the Bible will grant temporary flight as well. But those are the only ways that non-flying characters can access flight in the Binding of Isaac.